friends, welcome back. Today we are tackling another high protein meal prep. And these meals aren't just for myself. I often will meal prep and share all of my meals with my family as well, but they are meals that are gonna help me hit my protein goals, stay on track with health and fitness. If you're new here, my name's Melanie. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4. I'm busy. If you're a busy person, I can relate. Life is chaotic around here, but I do prioritize health and fitness even as a busy mom. One of my biggest goals in life is to build lean muscle mass because we all know the importance of muscle, especially as we age. It is harder and harder to put on muscle. Muscle is like our superpower. As ladies especially, we want to put on as much muscle mass as we can and keep it on for as long as possible. So eating a high protein diet is a great way to help your body build muscle, keep muscle, maintain muscle, all of that good stuff. So that's what we're doing today, and that's what I'm all about. So let's talk about today's menu. I am going to be making a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner option today. Although I am an egg and toast type of girly for breakfast, so my breakfast option today is actually going to be more like a snack for me personally, but you could definitely use it as a breakfast option. It is pancakes, one of my favorite childhood foods, but we're making a healthy, macro-friendly pancake. Basically, that means we're using healthy ingredients that are going to help us have a good amount of carbs, fats, and proteins and not going overboard on the calories. So we're making pancakes with a high protein whipped cottage cheese topping. That's gonna replace like a maple syrup or a higher sugar topping that you typically put on pancakes. And then my lunch option today is an egg salad. It's not going to be a sandwich, although you could put it on a sandwich. What I like to do is use egg salad in a high protein wrap, but you could also put it inside of a pita. You could put it on a bed of lettuce. We're basically just making the egg salad portion, and then you can use it however you would like throughout the week. And I'm only gonna be making 2 servings of that one because I feel like after a couple of days, I'm feeling like I wanna switch things up. So I'm gonna make 2 servings of that, but if you wanna have more in your fridge, make sure you double the recipe. And for the dinner option, I'm gonna be making hamburger style bowls. So we're gonna be using a lean ground beef, and then we're not gonna have a bun. Instead, I'm gonna be doing some crispy, healthy potato wedges. And the fun part is going to be the high protein hamburger sauce that you're gonna put on top of your bowl. And then we're just gonna keep it simple and do like a shredded lettuce or some microgreens to go with the hamburgers and the potato wedges. So that's what I'm cooking up today. If you wanna try any of the recipes, I will include it in the description box below, completely for free, no strings attached. Okay, I don't have a ton of time, so I wanna get cooking. So let's get into it, let's meal prep. So the first recipe I'm gonna tackle is the pancakes. And all you need, I have a protein powder. I like a vanilla whey isolate protein powder, but you can use whatever protein powder that you like. I also have oat flour. You can find oat flour at the grocery store, but you can also make it yourself at home, and it's so easy. All you have to do is pour your oats into a blender and just grind them up until they look like this. Just rolled oats turned into flour. Super simple. And then I have baking powder. You'll need some cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and that's it for the dry ingredients. And then the wet ingredients, I do have a little bit of maple syrup, which I'm gonna add with the cottage cheese, and I'll just blend them together and make like a whipped cottage cheese topping. But you'll also need some cottage cheese to go in the pancakes as well. And then I just have an egg white carton. I love to get this one at Costco because it comes in, I think it's a 3 or 4 pack. So you get a lot of egg whites. And then you're not wasting the egg yolks if you have to separate the eggs yourself. I do like egg white cartons, so recommend that. And then you'll need some milk. You could also use an almond milk or an oat milk, whatever milk that you like to use, and vanilla extract. So that's all that you need. These are gonna be really easy to make, and they're hopefully gonna taste really, really yummy. Oh, and I like cooking my pancakes on a griddle, so I've just set up my griddle here. I've plugged it in, it's warming up now. If you don't have a griddle, you could definitely just cook these on a frying pan like you normally would. It's just gonna take you a lot longer. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna have 1 bowl for the dry, and 1 bowl for the wet. Okay, this is going to make about 12 pancakes. And obviously I'm not gonna eat all 12 pancakes at once. So the great thing about this is you can store them in the fridge and then pop them in the toaster to reheat them in the morning. Or you could even freeze them, which is what I'm gonna do. And then you can also just pop it in the toaster when you're ready to eat them. You have them down the road whenever you are hungry and looking for a healthy snack. We need 1 cup of oat flour. Looks about right. Oh, I forgot something. I'm also going to be adding collagen powder in the whipped cottage cheese topping. Instead of adding more protein powder, since we're already adding protein powder in the pancakes themselves, I wanted to add collagen powder instead into the whipped cottage cheese topping. So you'll need collagen powder as well, but that is optional. If you just want to leave that out, that's fine as well. Or you could add more protein powder to the topping, whatever you like, but that's just what I'm doing. Added 2 scoops of protein powder, and now I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And just a little bit of salt. Now, I just wanna mention, these are clearly not very sweet. So if you are used to really sweet pancakes, you could add in a little bit of coconut sugar if you like. Or your protein powder might actually add enough sweetness, depending on how your protein powder is sweetened. But I'm personally okay with them not being super sweet. Oh, I forgot the cinnamon. Add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Because I feel like the topping is going to be sweet enough. And I don't need the extra sugar. The wet ingredients. Now I'm really hoping that this works and doesn't make a giant mess, but I'm gonna use my immersion blender here just so I can smooth out the cottage cheese. Perfect. I'm just gonna eyeball the milk. I'm not gonna add it right away because you just wanna go by texture. Thinking I might not even need it. I'm not even gonna add the milk because this is wet and it doesn't even need it. See the texture. I like to use coconut oil, but you could use butter or a non-stick spray if you prefer. So I'm just gonna take a 1/4 cup and measure out each pancake. I'm actually really excited to have these. I love these after a workout because they have a good amount of carbs, fast digesting carbs, which is what you want either right before a workout or right after a workout. Lots of protein. And I love that it's not only protein powder that you're getting the protein from. You also have the cottage cheese, you have all the egg whites. It's gonna be low fat, which is also what you want after a workout or before a workout. Okay, so that's good for now. So we have 8. I'm thinking we'll get about 10 pancakes total. And while that's cooking, I'm gonna work on the cottage cheese whip topping. Just gonna add everything into the blender, and that's gonna make it really super easy to make. I'm like dying for a taste of this. I'm going for it. Oh, it's delicious. That's so good. And if you don't find that it's sweet enough, you can definitely adjust it to your own taste. So if you want it a little bit sweeter, just add a little bit more maple syrup as you go. I can promise you this, you are going to love this. It's to die for. It's so good. Okay, I still have coconut oil on my spatula here, but that's okay. I'm going to flip that. Perfection. I could just eat this right out of the container. I think I have one more bite. That's done. To make this egg salad, you want to start by boiling 8 eggs. So I just put them in a pot, I brought it up to a boil, and then I turned down the heat and I let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. And this egg salad is going to be way higher in protein and have a lot less fat than your typical egg salad. And one of the ways that I do that is I'm substituting mayonnaise for a plain 0% Greek yogurt. This is gonna give us so much more protein. And once you add in all of the spices, the salt and pepper, and mix everything together, I promise you won't even tell that mayonnaise is not included in this recipe. And I also have another hack for making this a little bit higher in protein and less in fat, which means a little bit lower in calories than a regular egg salad. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But in the meantime, once I've added in my smoked paprika, onion powder, salt and pepper, Dijon mustard, I'm next going to be chopping up 1 celery stalk. And I like to chop it pretty finely because you don't want big chunks, but you do want to make sure you have a little bit of a crunch. And I'm also going to be chopping up some fresh chives. If you have a hard time finding chives at the grocery store, you can always use green onions as well. Now, I know there are so many methods out there that people swear by for making the perfect hard-boiled eggs. I have yet to find a better method than just boiling them in a pot, making sure they're fully cooled, and then I always use a spoon to get underneath the shell. You want to get underneath that little membrane, and then I always find that the shell just pops right off. And I also find if your eggs aren't super fresh, it makes it a little bit easier. So this is the one time when I'm hoping that my eggs were not laid like the day before. Okay, so back to the recipe. I have 8 eggs, but I'm only going to be using 4 whole eggs, and then the other 4 eggs, I'm popping out the yolks. And if you have another use for your egg yolks, by all means, do not throw them out, put them in your fridge, save them, give them to your dog. I don't have any pets, so please don't take my advice. I really don't want to kill your dog if it's actually not that healthy for your pet. But if you have a way to use the egg yolks, it does not have to be wasted. So for the 4 egg yolks that we saved, I mashed them up and then I just combined it with our dressing, and it just makes the dressing really nice and smooth and creamy. And then I'm roughly chopping up all of the egg whites and adding it in with the sauce. Stir everything together and we're basically done here, but there are a few final touches. You want to make sure that you give it a taste, make sure it has enough salt, and then put it into your container. And this is going to give us 2 servings, and each serving has 24 grams of protein, which is fantastic. And then we can have even more protein by using a high protein wrap. My wrap has around 11 grams of protein. So, I mean, that's like 35 grams of protein for lunch, and that is excellent. Such a simple, easy, and delicious high protein lunch. Next, I'm gonna work on the crispy potato wedges, and this is going to go with the Hamburger Bowls. It's kind of like a French fry replacement, but there is nothing bad about these French fries. They are going to be roasted in the oven. It's only using a tiny bit of oil, but there is a secret ingredient, and that's arrowroot powder. I've actually shared this method before, but it's definitely worth sharing again because these turn out so good and so crispy every single time. All you do is slice your potatoes into little wedges. I love using fingerling potatoes, but you can even use baby potatoes if you like. Just slice them in half. And then you add them to a Ziploc bag and you add about a tablespoon of flour for one of those small bags of mini potatoes or fingerling potatoes. And then you add equal parts oil. So 1 tablespoon of arrowroot powder plus 1 tablespoon of oil. And you just want to shake it all up until it's fully covered and you don't see any of the white powder on the potatoes anymore. But you do want to be careful. Don't add too much oil, just enough that you don't see the white powder anymore. And then I prepared a baking sheet. You want to space them all out, otherwise they won't get as crispy. So make sure they're spaced out nicely. And I'm just preheating my oven to 425 and I'm setting my timer for 35 minutes. Next, I'm working on the hamburger portion of the hamburger bowls. And I've just finally chopped up 1 red onion and I'm gonna use this as a topping for the hamburger bowls. So once that's done, I set it aside and now I'm chopping 1 yellow onion and I also have 4 cloves of garlic, but I did double today's recipe so that we could have this for dinner tonight with my family. And I do recommend that with this recipe. Everyone in my family absolutely loved this meal and I was grateful to not have to cook after meal prepping for a couple of hours. So I do recommend whenever meal prepping, plan to use some of the meals that you're prepping as a dinner option if you're doing this in the afternoon, because you're definitely not going to want to cook any longer after already meal prepping. Okay, so I have extra lean ground beef and I'm just putting that in a large pan and I'm gonna break it all apart, and I'm keeping this part of the recipe really super simple because you don't really have to overcomplicate this part. We're going to be making a high protein hamburger sauce to go with this, and that's gonna have tons of flavor. So I'm just kind of using minimal spices and ingredients for the beef portion. I'm using some of the same spices that I've used previously. I just had some smoked paprika, my favorite spice of all time, onion powder, salt and pepper, and then I added in the garlic and the onion, and I'm just cooking everything together. Now I'm going to be adding in a low sugar ketchup. My ketchup was actually more like a salsa, so I feel like if you have salsa, you could even use that as well, but you want to just look at the sugar content, make sure it's low sugar. If you don't have low sugar, okay, that's fine. Just use whatever ketchup that you have. And then I added in a couple splashes of tamari, which is a soy sauce, and a little bit of broth. Doesn't matter if it's chicken or beef broth. You just want to moisten up the pan and break everything apart and make sure it's not super duper dry, because nobody likes dry meat. And then once it's fully cooked, you just set it aside to cool, and don't forget to give your potato wedges a toss about halfway through the cooking time. And now I'm gonna work on the hamburger sauce. Guys, I was so pleasantly surprised with this sauce. It ended up tasting absolutely delicious. Definitely gotta try this one. It's kind of like a Big Mac sauce. Fun fact for you, I actually used to work at McDonald's when I was a teenager. In our town, it was like the job to have if you were in high school. They even had shuttle vans come to school, pick up the kids, bring them to McDonald's to work, and then drive them home. I mean, who wouldn't want that job? Although I did eat a lot of McDonald's back in the day, I'm now trying to recreate some of those delicious McDonald's sauces and things that I used to eat and no longer really eat anymore. So this Big Mac sauce, or hamburger sauce, whatever you want to call it, it's a great replacement and it's super duper delicious and healthy, and I'm definitely making this over and over and over again. If I'm being honest, I'm a little bit skeptical of this sauce. It actually looks a lot like Big Mac sauce, but all those ingredients combined together, I was like, is this gonna work? I don't know. Let's try it. Oh, it's so good. Yes! Guys, this is so good! It's got like a little tang, a hint of sweetness, and a bit of spice. It's like the perfect combo. Yes! I love when recipes work. Guys, I did not plan this meal prep time properly because I have 5 minutes until I have to go and get my kids from the bus. So anyways, I'm gonna just throw some of the things that I've completed in the fridge, and then I'm gonna come back and finish up the rest of it later when all of my kids are home. Yeah, this is the reality of life and poor planning. I kept putting this off until like 2 o'clock, thinking I would have enough time, but that's okay. I got the majority of my meal prep done. All I have to do is chop up some of the toppings for the hamburger bowls, and we'll probably have some of that for dinner tonight, which is really good. Yeah, I'll just finish up the dishes and show you guys a little bit later how everything turned out. But in the meantime, I'm definitely having one of these pancakes because this girl's hungry. Take one of these. Look at that, guys. Thickens up so nice. Just like spread that on top. Oh, yes. I have an obsession with eating rice cakes, just the plain rice cakes, and spreading peanut butter, sliced bananas, and drizzling honey on top. So I think this is going to be my replacement for those rice cakes. They have so much more protein. They taste really yummy. It's just such a simple snack. I love it. All right. So I'm just gonna pull these potatoes out of the oven, and then I'm gonna go and get my kids, and I'll just let everything cool while I run out. Then I will finish up when I get home. Look how crispy those are. I'm telling ya, this is the best way to cook potatoes. Like, you cannot beat that. Look at those. Oh my goodness. Do those not look amazing? They're so crispy. Yum. Well, that wraps up another high protein meal prep. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you love the recipes. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye for now.